All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's break down the next bout that is on this main card of this fight night in Baku, Azerbaijan. The other Azerbaijanian that will be fighting on this card tonight, or this afternoon, tomorrow, Nazim Sadykov versus Mateus Camilo. All right, now let's look at the tail of tape. So Sadykov is the same height as his opponent. He is 7 years older, and he has the same reach. Southpaw stance to his opponent's orthodox. This is a very, striker heavy on the Zim Salikov side, and I would say more submission takedown heavy on his opponent's side for sure. 10-3 versus 11-2-1, almost exactly amount of professional fights. 14 versus 13. This is great matchmaking. Now let's see how we got to this fight. By first breaking down Nazim Sadykov. So this man trains in Serra-Longo Fight Team in Long Island, New York, but also has done some training at Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas, but has a very hybrid corner group with John Wood, Ray Longo, and the former UFC bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili. But this is his record. He is 4-1 and one draw in the UFC, and he came in from being a Fury FC alum, fighting against Oh, I should have X'd out that. Well, he defeated him by first round TKO in 55 seconds. This was back in 2022. And yeah, he wins, has the Azerbaijani flag behind him. Ray Longo in his corner back there, proud as hell. And that got him his opportunity to fight on Dana White's Contender Series against Ahmed Hazanzanda. And unfortunately for Hasan Zanda, he wouldn't get an opportunity to fight for a contract or get Dana White to call his name because that was Nazim Sadikov's right to glory. And he hit him with this right punch right on the chin that just sent him unconscious, and the referee could not rescue him in time for this unnecessary ground and pound. With that, he got his UFC contract, came into UFC against Evan Elder, who I've seen fight live in the first fight of the night at UFC Fight Night in Denver. And he's 3 years older than his opponent. He's a minus 200 favorite in his UFC debut. Wins the fight as he should in his debut. And there's Aljamain Sterling behind him taking a photo of his teammate. And yeah, it ended because the referee and the doctor stopped it because of a cut on Elder's eye that was TKO doctor stoppage. And then he move on 1-0 in the UFC to take on Terrence T-Rex McKinney. He became, again, another favorite against a man who has more UFC experience than him, but that's still no problem. He wins this fight because he's not just a striker, he also has a ground game, and he submitted Terrence McKinney in the second round by rear naked choke. So then he would go on to fight another, uh, well, I would call him a seasoned vet, but with more experience in the UFC than he does at the time. The odds are pretty close in this one. It was 125 to 150. And rightfully so, it ended in a majority draw. One judge gave it to Nazim, the other two said it was a draw. But unfortunately, 2-1 makes it majority. So then, not taking a loss, still undefeated in his UFC career, takes on Ishmael Bonfim, the younger brother of Gabriel Bonfim. And he would, unfortunately, the Bonfim brothers were not successful this night. Well, I think he was the only one that competed. Anyways, Nazim would beat him, ironically, the same way he defeated Evan Elder. Not the same way exactly, because this head kick was so right on money. He got his foot to connect with his opponent's eye. And when he connected and made his opponent unable to see clearly, the doctors are around him trying to get an answer, but he can't give him one. The fight is ruled off. And then we move to Baku, Azerbaijan. He's fighting in his home country. And just like his fellow man Rafael Fiziev is going to be doing the main event, he took on Nicholas Mota. And this man was in a freaking war. This was potential fight of the year candidate when the first round he gets dropped, head planted, and then took almost 50 punches unanswered before recovering to land this blow to his opponent, Nicholas Mota, and knocked him out. And then he would be still undefeated in his UFC career. Unfortunately, though, this was last year UFC 323, the same card as his teammate Merab Dvalishvili fought in the main event. And just like Merab, he did not come on the winning side. Faraz Zayam defeated Nazim Sadykov by second round TKO at the last second of the second round, man. So that's what lead us to Nazim Sadykov going lower in opponents, levels of difficulty, but this is a good matchup for him to get back on the winning track against Mateus Camilo. So let's look at Mateus Camilo. He is from the Performance Institute. He does a lot of his training in Las Vegas, but also trains with Extreme Couture. And here's his record. He is 1-1, one win and one loss in the UFC. We'll look at it more closely. So he came from Fury FC, very ironically, the same promotion that Nazim Sadykov came from. Fought Davian Ramos, fought yeah, this is the same poster he's on for I believe it was 88. Was that the number? 83, close enough. But yeah, he submitted him with a triangle armbar in the third round to continue his momentum to getting to the UFC. But before he did that, he had to fight on this promotion card as where? Well, it was ZFN2. That's right, against Dorabshak Nabatov. This fight took place and he won by a 3-round decision. And that fight was his last bout before he got to make his UFC debut. No contender series, no Ultimate Fighter, no. Got straight into the UFC to take on Gabe Green, who has not been on the fair share of wins in his career so far in the promotion. But unfortunately for Camilo, he did this night because the man making his debut didn't have the bright light experience against the biggest promotion in mixed martial arts. And he took him to the ground in the second round, submitted him with a rear naked choke, and that's all she wrote. But fortunately for Mateus Camilo, Vyacheslav Borishev would be this man's one and only UFC victory so far. Thankfully, it was, yes, a 3-round unanimous decision. And oddly enough, he went to a decision with Nazim Sadykov, and one judge, like I said, gave it to Nazim, but it was a 2-round majority draw. So that is interesting that he has defeated an opponent that Nazim Sadykov technically could not defeat, but did not lose to. So now that leads us to who am I picking in this weekend's featured bout on the main card, Nazim Sadykov or Mateus Camilo? If this fight was in the Apex or any other place but Baku, Azerbaijan, I might go with Camilo now that he's on the momentum up and Nazim Sadykov is on his last fight is on the way down. But I'm going with Nazim Sadykov. He has more UFC fights, 4-1 and one draw, six. This will be his seventh, and his opponent will be his third. He has more than double the UFC experience than his opponent will this weekend. I think he's going to prove that his home country, his backyard, will be another reason why he's going to have this victory underneath his belt. And that's why being in Azerbaijan with his fellow countryman Fiziev fighting in the main event, I think just like last year, just like he defeated Nicholas Mota and this electrifying victory he's feeling in his veins, just like everyone in the stadium and the arena is going to feel, it's going to be a good night for Azerbaijan when this man and Fiziev get the job done, which is what I'm predicting. So I'm calling Nazim Sadykov by second round knockout. I think it's going to be a knockout.